The day I bought my car felt like victory. The engine hummed like freedom, the seats smelled like success. I had worked hard, saved a little, and signed the papers with pride. I did not know it yet, but that signature was the start of a silent trap. The salesman smiled and said, "It is only $450 a month?" He made it sound easy. I nodded, thinking, I can afford that. But I did not realize what I was truly paying for: interest, insurance, taxes, and stress that would follow me for years. The first few weeks felt amazing. I drove everywhere, playing music loud, feeling like I had made it. But every time I filled the tank or saw another bill arrive, that joy faded a little. It was not freedom. It was a lease on my future. One night, I sat down and looked at the payment schedule. The total cost was almost double what I borrowed. My stomach sank. The car that once made me proud now made me anxious. I had fallen for comfort disguised as success. I realized I had not bought a car, I had bought debt. Every month my paycheck went out faster than it came in. Insurance, maintenance, interest, it felt endless. I was not driving my car anymore, my car was driving my choices. I started skipping small joys, coffee with friends, weekend plans, just to make the payment. I told myself it was normal, that everyone does it. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Debt was not normal. It was a chain we have learned to decorate. That realization hit me one night when my car broke down. I checked my bank account, barely enough to repair it. I was paying for something that I could not even afford to fix. That was the night I truly woke up. The next morning, I promised myself, no more emotional purchases. No more living for appearances. If I could afford the payment but not the pain, it was not worth it. I began learning what money actually meant and how easily we trade peace for pride. I sold the car a few months later. The decision hurt, but freedom always comes with a price. I took the bus for a while and some people laughed, but every ticket I bought felt lighter than any car payment ever did. For the first time in years, my money was mine again. I could breathe. I could plan. I realized I did not need to look rich. I needed to live smart. That moment changed how I saw every dollar that passed through my hands. Once the car was gone, I finally saw how much of my income had been chained to it. Every month, I was buying something that lost value the moment I drove it. When I stopped, my savings grew almost instantly. The silence of no debt was louder than any engine. I realized the car was never the real problem. It was my mindset. I had mistaken convenience for progress. Society teaches us that possessions define success, but peace of mind is worth more than horsepower. The moment I understood that, I stopped chasing symbols and started chasing substance. I began tracking every dollar that came in and went out. For the first time, I saw the truth in numbers. Most of my stress had not come from low income. It came from poor decisions. Money was never the enemy. My habits were. Without a car loan, I had breathing room. I built a small emergency fund, even if it was just $500 at first. That little cushion changed everything. For once, I did not panic when life happened. I realized savings are not a luxury, they are protection. Then came my next goal, investing. I started small, with index funds and retirement contributions. It was not exciting. There were no fast profits or luxury promises. But I finally understood that wealth is not supposed to thrill you. It is supposed to build you. I built new rules. Never finance anything that loses value. Always save before I spend and treat every dollar like an employee. My money needed a job. Whether it was paying debt, saving, or investing, it had to work harder than I did. Every bus ride reminded me why I made the right choice. I was no longer trapped by monthly payments. My pride took a hit, but my peace returned. I was learning that wealth has less to do with image and more to do with intention. As months passed, I started seeing my account grow. Slowly, steadily, predictably. I realized the most powerful feeling in finance is control, not excitement. I was no longer waiting for payday relief. I was building my own financial rhythm. I learned that financial freedom is not about never spending. It is about choosing when and why you spend. Debt forces you to react. Savings allow you to decide. That shift in power was the first real freedom I had ever felt. People started noticing my calmness. I was not showing off, but I was different. I had no car loan, no credit card debt, and no fear of emergencies. The same friends who once teased me for downgrading began asking how I did it. The more I saved, the less I needed. My priorities shifted from owning more to maintaining less. Simplicity gave me power. When you have fewer bills, you have more choices. I began to understand that minimalism is not about giving things up. It is about gaining control. I stopped buying things to impress people who did not care. The quiet confidence that came with financial stability felt better than any applause. My worth was no longer parked in a driveway. It was built through discipline. Every dollar I once spent on that car now went into my investments. I started tracking compound growth, slow, steady, and patient. Watching my money grow without debt attached was like breathing cleaner air. It was not fast, but it was free. I realized that debt sells excitement, while investing sells patience. One drains energy, the other builds it. Society rewards speed, but real wealth rewards endurance. The longer I stayed consistent, the easier it became to see which one truly worked. There were moments when I was tempted to finance a car again. The ads, the comfort, the convenience, they called me. But I remembered the stress, the sleepless nights, and that sinking feeling of being trapped. No convenience is worth that price. Instead, I kept my focus on my bigger goals, owning assets, not liabilities. I wanted things that appreciated, not things that aged. I was building quiet wealth, not loud debt. It was less visible, but infinitely more valuable. I realized wealth is not about the car you drive. It is about the freedom to choose not to drive one. My friends saw luxury as proof of success, but I saw peace as the highest form of wealth. Over time, I became addicted, not to spending, but to saving. Each month, I challenged myself to invest more than before. Watching my progress became its own reward. I was not chasing quick gains. I was building a lifetime of options. When emergencies happened, I was ready. No panic, no credit cards, no begging for help. My money finally worked for me instead of against me. I realized preparation is the highest form of confidence. By living below my means, I had created something debt never could, peace that lasted longer than excitement. The world calls it boring, but boredom built my freedom. Consistency may look quiet, but it speaks wealth fluently. Freedom did not come from earning more. It came from wanting less. I used to believe success meant luxury. Now I know success means choice. The ability to say no to payments, pressure, and pretending. That is the kind of freedom no loan can buy. The funny thing about peace is how quiet it feels. There is no rush, no panic, no waiting for payday. My money finally obeyed my goals, not my emotions. I did not need a new car to feel rich. I needed clarity to feel alive. I started sharing my story online, not to brag, but to warn others. Because I realized most people are not broke. They are buried under payments that steal their power. I wanted to show that debt is not normal. It is just common. Some people laughed at my no-loan lifestyle, but others listened. They began asking questions about budgeting, about investing, about control. And every conversation reminded me that wisdom multiplies when it is shared. Teaching became part of my own education. Years later, I could finally afford a car again, but this time I paid cash. No paperwork, no interest, no chains, just gratitude. I smiled the whole drive home, not because of what I bought, but because of how I bought it. Owning that car outright felt different. It did not make me proud. It made me peaceful. I had learned the most valuable lesson of all. Debt-free things feel lighter, not because they cost less, but because they carry no worry. From that point on, my financial life was simple. I earned, I saved, I invested, and I avoided what I did not need. I focused on habits instead of hype. It turns out the secret to wealth is not brilliance. It is boredom done right. The person who once fell for flashy offers had become someone who valued patience more than possessions. That transformation did not happen overnight. It happened payment by payment, choice by choice. I built wealth the same way I built wisdom. Slowly. I used to think debt was normal and wealth was rare. Now I know both are choices repeated daily. Every time you spend, save, or invest, you cast a vote for your future. I stopped voting for debt and started voting for freedom. So if you are watching this, let me tell you what I learned. Freedom does not come with keys. It comes with discipline. The day I learned my car loan was a trap was the day I learned to drive my life, not my debt. Choose peace, choose patience, choose ownership. If you truly want to make a change, save this video and listen to it again. Let it remind you that small steps build big results. I will be posting more money, mindset, and growth content right here on this channel. So if you enjoyed this one, hit that subscribe button, join our journey, and let's grow together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.